tell us a little bit about your newest adventure. Not your paintings, although those are, oh my gosh, it's been so fun watching you as an artist change your style so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty interesting from my perspective.
That's what I was going to ask you too, before we talk about what you do for a living. And I can't wait for that conversation. I want to ask you, because I'm not an artist naturally, but I have watched your artwork change through the years. I know some probably, I mean, like when you do commission work, someone wants you to paint something they've requested. When you get to, it looks to me like you're doing a lot of free flow, what I would consider free flow artwork, where you're just doing whatever comes to mind, right? And so do you find yourself looking at that canvas afterwards going, what in the heck, where did that come from?
In a way, yes. It feels like, birthing a child almost, where it's kind of like it's something that's created that's beyond what you could conceive on your own. I don't know how to describe that, but it's an intuitive process. So throughout the whole process, I'm surprised and delighted, and colors and shapes start to change and sing to me, and it's acting and responding. So it turns into a dance between me and the canvas. And it brings me so much joy. And that's why I paint. I love it that I sell some paintings. But for me, it's like painting from that place of authenticity and joy. It feels very liberating. And I think that's coming through in my work. And it's just the way that it is with art as you evolve, and every painting that you paint hopefully is the best painting.
Taught you something.
Yeah. And it's taught you something, and it builds on each other. But each painting that I start, I have no idea, no real plan.
That's great. I think all the time about, create that life you want to live. And it's as simple as starting with a blank canvas.
Yes.
If you can get to a point where you have a blank canvas, and you just get to start painting what you want on that canvas versus working with what already exists. And so, just seeing your artwork go from what I know was just a blank canvas to what it becomes, and it surprises you too.
It does,
it's just a fascinating process to watch. So I've enjoyed watching it. So thank you. Keep sharing that with us.
I sure will. And I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So let's talk about hypnosis. I know that this was something that came really kind of out of COVID, because you were selling real estate. And then COVID hit, and we were all trying to figure out how we were going to recreate our canvas of life, And you went back to painting, and you really worked through your paintings, didn't you? I mean, like, you arrived where you are today through the thinking that went on through your painting, which had to have been, is that kind of a little bit of what hypnosis can be for some people, in your zone?
I think it is. I think a lot of people misperceive what hypnosis is. It's actually a really natural state. So an athlete can experience that when they're in the zone. An artist, a musician, dancer, it's a very highly focused state, and that's really all that hypnosis is a deeply absorbed state. A lot of people correlate, I think, meditation with hypnosis. It's the closest thing that I could say, that hypnosis is like meditation, even though they're totally different. It's the most similar, because we get in a really relaxed state. When the body is relaxed, then the mind tends to relax too. The main difference between meditation, if your listeners have experienced meditation before, is with hypnosis, there's a habit change component, there's an emotional component, and there is a specific goal. And the more clarity there is a goal of, I want to get this out of the session, then I work at listening to kind of the imagination of the client. So I look kind of beyond the words that are being said and more like, what's the emotional need that's presenting itself? And because some people, may not know exactly what they need. So that's my job, is to kind of sort through everything that's being said and determine on an emotional level what's needed so that can be cleared out. And we have these layers and layers of life experience that cover up who we are on the inside. So the beauty of hypnosis and how it correlates with art and my art journey is it's getting to that deep, beautiful essence that we all have, that we all share in common. And, some people call it inner being. I like the word inner being because, it's just kind of what it is.
It's within.
Yeah. It could be a deeper mind though, or subconscious mind. Those are all, it's all kind of the same thing. But when we have an external focus and we're focused on everything that we're doing in life, then we can sometimes become over-identified with how we physically present or what our habits are. And we start to say, I am this that I do, or I am this that I believe. And the truth is that we're this beautiful, resourceful, pure energy within this inner being, and it gets covered up over time. It gets covered up with sometimes traumatic experiences, sometimes, a lot of times conditioning from our early years, whether that's school, within the home, wherever that may be. And sometimes that's traumatic. And sometimes we identify even with the trauma that happened and we say, I am that, I'm broken. Mm-hmm. And we would beat ourselves up for the bad things that have happened in our life. But the truth is totally different. And so that's what I help people do, is vent out or clear out what's keeping them from understanding who they really are, that they're not really what they do, but who they are.
That's such a beautiful, so for me, I've been wrapped up in the hustle and bustle of life in this crazy industry that I chose to love. And I do love, but I still sometimes get wrapped up in the energy of doing versus being. Mm-hmm. And it sometimes is self-soothing when you don't know what to do, to just go do. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier to just go do than to sit and be. But then I think, oh, Janet, I need to come in again because I've been so caught up in the doing for the last couple of weeks. I can feel it. My body's tired. Yeah. My mind's starting to get tired. And some of my self-talk isn't necessarily healthy self-talk because I'm caught up in the doing instead of the being.
Yeah. And it's really not a matter of stopping doing. I think that, there's a lot of great YouTube channels out there and information out there that I think creates some confusion around that for folks. And it did for me. But I can't just do nothing. I have to make a living,
right?
And I want to work and do things. So it's more like the over identification with the doing that becomes a problem when we think we have to act or be in a certain way and we forget checking in and tuning in with our intuition, with that inner being. And so the inner being, how do we know our inner being? Well, we all have it, and it's all closer to us than what we realize it is. It's right there, and it's just our inner voice. And it's our inner voice, and our inner voice is there all the time. And that's why I tell clients a lot of the time, it's like, you know exactly what your answers are already, but I'm going to help you really feel that within you, that you know what your answers are.
Sometimes it reminds me of sometimes there's something that has a power over us that once we identify it and we name it and claim it, then we can reframe it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I hear you saying is, for some where it's hard for them to name it, you help them through that process of naming, claiming, and reframing.
Definitely. And so I help people have tools for managing and gaining more clarity on what they already know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's an inner journey. It's nothing that I do. What I do is I help guide people to a relaxed state. And the scientific part of it is the brainwave state changes when people are in hypnosis. It's like falling asleep too. I did say it's like getting in the zone. That's part of it, but it's also that state that we fall into right before we fall asleep. It's called the hypnagogic state, and you're going from beta from beta to alpha to theta, and people go to different levels of hypnosis. So some people may think, well, I'm not in hypnosis, I feel just the same, and that's because maybe they didn't get to theta. But that doesn't mean that they didn't go into a light level of hypnosis, because a light level of hypnosis would be an alpha state, which is like what an athlete or an artist would experience. They're still eyes open and zoned into something. They're not like about to drift off to sleep. Obviously, an athlete, they would be in trouble if they
show up on the football field, have a sleep.
But sometimes the waking, when we wake up, and say you have to go to the bathroom, but you're so tired, you don't want to get out of bed, you're so comfortable, and you start going back into a dreamlike state and then back up, and that's the hypnagogic state. So it's a state that everybody's familiar with already. They just may not know that's what hypnosis is.
And you're
like.
using it as a tool, instead of just as just part of the state. Sleeping state. You're using it to actually, I was reading a book the other day, and it was talking about the power of being able to wake up, like 10 minutes before you need to get up, to get yourself back into that hypnagogic state, gogic state, to set intentions and really frame your day.
Yes.
And I tried that before. I was gone for a trip and out of town. So of course my routine was all out of whack, and I did not do that at that time. But prior to that trip, I was trying that just a little bit, just to see, could I intentionally get into that state first thing in the morning before my feet hit the ground, so I can frame my day.
Yeah. Well, you don't even need to get into, you're already in the state. So, how you have your best thoughts first thing in the morning, usually, like when you're in the shower, or it's because you're still coming out of that state a little bit. So when you do set your intentions for the day, either in the morning like that, or just before you falling asleep, that's the beauty too, right before falling asleep. If you can clear your mind at that time and set your intentions at that time too, it's going to drop right into your mind. And the subconscious mind, the deeper mind, it's locking in those, and you're through your sleep state. That's where things are getting sorted. It's like the mail. It's like the subconscious mind during sleep and during hypnosis, it's a similar process. It's the subconscious mind is going to sort through the information that's taken in, and it's going to throw out what's not needed, and it's going to put what is needed into long-term memory. So the more that you can repeat what it is your intention and what you want, that's why there's a lot of repetition in hypnosis and suggestions in hypnosis of positive suggestions for what the client, that align the client with their goal of what they're wanting and needing, whether it's clearing something out or cementing something in, creating a new habit, or overcoming an old habit. The process is all the same. We use a lot of imagery in hypnosis that is personal and specific. So no two sessions, you know that.
Yeah, I do.
No two sessions look alike.
I've gone to the beach before hypnosis. I've been to places.
Yeah.
All in my mind.
Yes. Yeah.
But well, thank you so much for sharing the information and helping us better understand how we can use that to really realign ourselves to our true core values and really connect with our inner being, which I think is so important in this busy, busy, busy world that we live in. And all the pressures that we put on ourselves to be a great mom, to be a great wife, to be a great friend, to be a great, for me, to be a great, and be present as a grandmother and still, you know, be a career person and all the things. It's just another tool that I am so fortunate that you are here and I can utilize that tool. What if someone is not in our area and want to reach out to you? Can you do this over the phone or through Zoom?
I do Zoom sessions, but sure, they can. The phone works.
Zoom works.
Zoom is great.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. So how do people reach you?
Well, my number, they can call or text me at 903-821-3183. The name of my business is Texoma Hypnosis, and I have a website where you can find out more information there. But calling or texting me, you're welcome to anytime. I have flexible hours. I work by appointment. Tonight I have a session at 6 o'clock to give an example. So, but I just work within people's schedules to get them in. Yeah.
Well, and I know you have expanded the community to be more than just your therapy. You've now created a really a well-being community.
Yes.
Within our community. Tell us a little bit about that. And can anybody participate outside of our community, or is it only for locals?
It's for anybody who doesn't mind taking the trek up to, Denison. We haven't done anything virtual on a regular basis. I want to say I did one group hypnosis one time that was virtual, and that was really good. But for the most part, people are coming to 211 North Fannin Avenue. And it's Bill Morey and I, we alternate different Saturdays. So his is last time he took a field trip to a yoga studio that Claudette Thomas is running downtown Denison. And right now I'm running a series of sessions that are based on the book Atomic Habits.
Oh, I love that.
I am a big fan of that book, and it goes really well with hypnosis and just helping people, because it's all about changing habits, and
one habit at a time.
Tiny changes, big rewards. And that's really what hypnosis is about. You can come in sometimes for one session and it's life-changing. So I see that happen.
Yep. Well, I love the work that you're doing. I'm glad you're doing it.
Thank you.
That is one great thing that came out of COVID. And Bill's got some great things going on with his brain training.
Yes.
I love it. I'll have to have him on the show too.
Definitely.
Learn some more about that.
I love the EBT.
EBT. All right. Well, that is a wrap. Thank you guys for listening. Listen, it can be hectic. It can be hard, but it's so important. Of all the things that you can be, you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So whatever that looks like for you, maybe you want to give hypnosis a try. I've provided you all the information, made sure that you had all of Janet's contact information, so that maybe that's your next step in being all that you can be. Share this episode with others, because I am sure there are others that don't fully understand hypnosis and need to, because I think it's a great tool for us to all use. Have a great day.
Thank you.